SimRacing Expo next week, baby! And until then, Automobilista 2 update and other updates and our news. This video is dedicated to the memory of Jane Goodall. Fantastic scientist, impressive woman, impressive person. She brought biology and ethology forward at high speed. And to Roscoe, because he was a good boy, like most doggies are. And while I was cutting the videos, news reached us about the death of Diane Keaton, an actress we've enjoyed a lot in the past. Diane, thank you for your art. Greetings, Romy. You're watching WromWrom, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing and a regular news roundup, our weekly sim racing news. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. We're packing for the SimRacing Expo, as you can see. Or better said, I'm packing as Ike will stay at home because he's got more important things to do, as it should be. We're working on a ton and a half of videos from the SRE, and if you have got a special preference about what we should take a closer look at, let us know in the comments. We'll show you what companies have plans to have there in our enormous SimRacing Expo segment in this video, so let's get to it. The SimRacing Expo is almost upon us, and we asked the exhibitors why you should come to their booth to wonder and gasp. This is what they told us. PXN will debut their GT wheel at the Expo, as well as let you check out their load cell pedal they already showed at the Gamescom. Of course, you will be able to test their other products too, like their shifter. They'll also be having a daily track challenge with winners taking daily prizes with them. Coq SHH, a company name that just rolls off your tongue, will be showing off their 3DOF motion platform and you can have a go at it. P-Haptics will be showing their wearable haptic devices TacSuit Pro Air and Tac Sleeve with Assetto Corsa Competizione and iRacing, all running through their own SimHub plugin. PDH are going to present a completely new product, but they are keeping everything a secret, so we can't tell you because even we don't know. Apart from that one, you will be able to check their shifters, the H2 SQ, the Road Warrior and the H1. They will also have a rig with their H2 SQ setup, which you can then test and enjoy. And the new one's either gonna be a shifter or they pull a Huizingveld and do, I don't know, pedals? Coming back to haptic feedback, Sensit will also be there showing their gamut of solutions, including some ready-to-use seats set up on 4 rigs, a hot lap challenge where you can win 2 MTCP Extreme, and they will announce something new having to do with Sparco, and I bet it's some kind of Sparco seat with their haptic system built into it. GCOM 360 will not only have their gloves there, which you can test and buy on the spot, they'll also have an LMP3 racing car there for you to gawk at, take photos, and for some fortunate souls even sit in. And if you want to fill your stomach with something tasty but with zero nutritional value, they'll have a popcorn machine even. But don't eat that with the gloves on, okay? Gunspit will showcase the Apex series, including a soon-to-be-released and therefore utterly new and unseen 8Nm wheelbase. Apart from that, they'll bring their 310 Apex and the CPP Apex to the booth. Turkish Wolf Racing will bring 3 of their cockpits, the Formula, the Alpha and a flight simulator one, because they know as much as we do that enough of you like a bit of both. I mean, liftoff is just downforce in reverse, am I right? The rigs will be of their own construction, including the seats. Catalan company Simufy will be bringing 4 completely ready simulators for you to test, will have many products for you to test, touch and learn about, and will be offering discounts on products exclusive only to visitors as well as free express shipping within Europe. SimLab seem to have finished the development of their new DD systems, which they had only as prototypes at the last SimRacing Expo, and will be presenting them brand new at this year's Expo. Also, you will be able to sit and test their P1X Ultimate and F1 cockpits. Then Sim Wheels, who specialize in making custom wheels, will be bringing the Uniflex Elite X, VESA Ultra V2, VESA Core LMP2X and the ZS LMP PR in their basic form to the Expo. If you walk by their booth, you can also take with you a 10% discount code for their products, and they'll have a prototype wheel for you to check out and comment upon. Simucube will be presenting their absolutely completely new entry into the world of direct drive bases. The 3. See our segment on those in this video, and by presenting we mean they will allow you to have a go at them. The systems will all be set up on Rouge rigs, by the way. ActoRacer will present the prototype of a formula simulator which, in their words, can simulate a braking pressure of 6G on your body. And if you are into Porsche Cup, an as yet undisclosed driver of the Cup will be present and signing autographs. Asetek will be showing their Initium line of products, which, on the other hand, they've been very reticent to allow content creators to test, and we wonder why. Anyway, on the Asetek booth you can not only test the Initium products, but get up to 50% on La Priba products and bundles, which is by far more than you can get through our affiliate link, which would be 5%. And you will be able to test many other of the Asetek products as well as gawking at many others. And on Saturday 1600 there will be a meet and greet session with Jardir at the booth. Arc Dynamics say they can replicate the value and motion feedback of 100K rigs for a fraction of that cost. To be precise, their PDK Racer costs 5,500 USD and you will be able to test it at their booth. I gotta say, their solution looks interesting. If nothing else, their technology for sure looks different. We've been told Raceroom will have something new to show, as for sure will Asha, as they have partnered with Simucube to produce wheels compatible with Simucube's new bases, but at the moment we can't say anything further about it. Another one who've partnered with Simucube is Bavarian SimTech, who will be showcasing their absolutely new Delta wheel collection, their Delta Pro SC being fully compatible with the Simucube 3 bases and available shortly after the Expo. As an aside, they're offering our viewers a 5% discount on their products. Just follow the link in our description if you're interested. Within the same booth as Bavarian is Trek, who will be showcasing their new rig, the Trek CXX, as well as some monitor mounting solutions. One booth away from those two will be Novus, who will be showcasing their newest motion system, as well as CNC machined actuator mounts. You will be able to test drive on either two of their motion systems or two of their static setups, one of them in the style of a Formula open wheeler. On Friday, they'll have a time attack competition and have Misha Charudin on their booth. They are sharing a booth with VPG Sim, who will be showcasing their steering wheels on set Novus simulators. Rennsport will be officially present at the Expo with 9 hot lapping and competition rigs, as well as 2 release showcase rigs with daily multiplayer races and live broadcasts with commentary. Giant Software will for sure let you test Project Motor Racing, but they haven't said anything about letting us race tractors on Farm Simulator yet, and that in spite of them bringing Farming Simulator 25 Highlands Fishing to the Expo. Bummer. Veromotion will be bringing what they call the Champion 3DOF motion rig, as well as the Legend 6DOF, the Champion being an affordable motion rig, while the Legend puts more emphasis on realism, which always comes together with higher costs. You will be able to test them on track racer systems as well as on the VRS booth. As always, the SimRacing Expo will keep us fans busy, and leave us with the I wanna feeling we always get when we see the beautiful shiny things companies develop just for us. Look at all those blinking lights, man. And feel free to come and say hi if I'm not in the middle of recording. It's always fun to take a couple of minutes and talk shop with fellow sim racers. The latest LMU patches have landed with fixes that should make your racing experience smoother. Some DLC cars that players have already purchased were still showing "Coming Soon" banners instead of being available to drive. That's been fixed now. It's the kind of issue that shouldn't have made it to release. The team has squashed several crash bugs that were causing headaches. Custom liveries were causing crashes, spectator mode was crashing online clients, and servers were crashing when trying to remove debris. Those annoying end-of-race replay crashes have also been addressed. There was even a rare issue where in-game sound would just disappear entirely. That's been fixed too. ELMS class races were showing up with no drivers displayed in broadcast mode, which has been corrected. The race watch screen and replay systems have received multiple fixes for standings displays, timing panels, and driver labels showing people in the wrong positions. The lap back button in replays now behaves correctly when pressed from live view, and replay standings will no longer show incorrect status. If you're into paint jobs, you'll be pleased to know that several livery-related problems have been fixed. Your 2023 and 2024 designs will now actually show up in online event selections, and you won't be met with invisible cars in race history, rank breakdowns, or race results anymore. Materials settings will now carry over properly on auto reload, and there are new camera view buttons to help you admire your handiwork. Lighting during overcast weather conditions will no longer have jarring jumps, and pit lights won't mysteriously render when you're looking backwards anymore. Server hosts now have information about the lack of protest systems on their pages, which is helpful transparency. Errors when joining non-public servers through lobby codes have been fixed, and Silverstone will actually show its circuit name when you're browsing hosted servers now. The MFD pit menu was showing inaccurate lap estimates for non-VE cars, input calibration screens were sometimes displaying incorrect data, and there was a weird issue where pedal inputs would cause buttons to repeat when binding controls. All are now fixed. Users can no longer see pit stop requests from other cars, which is a welcome privacy improvement. However, if you've been unable to drive after a driver swap, the devs, for now, have only added extra logging to help diagnose the problem. The fix is to wait at least 60 seconds and send in your trace log. Not exactly a solution, but that's sometimes the nature of software development. The team split algorithm has also been adjusted, though they have kept details on what that actually means quite vague. Silverstone has received lots of attention this time around. Beyond fixing floating fences and terrain fall-through issues in the pit lane, the developers have corrected the spelling of coffee to coffee on a coffee box. Yeah. Really. They've also added garages under the race control building, fixed a collision issue on a concrete wall at Hangar Straight, and corrected barriers and fences around the national international layout cut-throughs. Curb grip has been increased while grass and gravel wear has been reduced, making the track a bit more forgiving. Pitbox placement has been updated to match the new visuals. Various car livery UI images have been updated across the board. For example, the Oreca 07 gets its custom team number plate positioned correctly and its collision mesh raised to prevent curb damage. The ELMS spec version adds an updated livery and has had its wet weather tire performance reviewed. The Ligier JS P325 LMP3, say that after 3 beers, receives notable changes. RPM warning lights that were flashing too early have been fixed, the overly fast refueling rate has been corrected, and damage settings have been reviewed. Players will warm up their tires slightly faster, while AI drivers will take longer, which could affect race strategy. Setup class filter issues have been resolved, which means your setups will actually show up for cars that appear in different championships. Custom WEC liveries will no longer incorrectly appear in ELMS race weekend events. Us VR users get some love with fixes for duplicated replay UI and gray filters in replay mode. The reset view button in graphic settings now works properly. Track IR users will find that the system is now fully disabled when turned off in options, and the roll axis inversion has been fixed. A guide option has been added to the drop-down menu. New menu background images featuring the Mercedes AMG LMGT3 and Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR LMH have been added for some visual variety. Class badges on daily race cards have been resized, and there's a minor formatting fix for new track content highlighting. You can now change your nationality even if your driver name contains numbers. Quite the specific bug that must have frustrated someone enough to report it. And minor updates have been made to Italian and Chinese translations. If any of your games runs Unity, we sure hope it got an update in the last 2 weeks, as Unity released a fix for a very serious security issue they corrected after being informed by a white hat hacker and responsibly working with them to solve the issue. This issue and the update solving it apply to all operating systems, and hooray for responsible hacking. These people are my heroes every day I hear from them. Pimax are offering rebates for those who own any other VR headset with up to $100 off a Crystal Light headset. You just have to prove you own any other VR headset. Hey, $100 is $100. Also, we have an affiliate link below if you're thinking of getting a Pimax headset. Just saying. Some more news in the steady drip from Project Motor Racing. Bathurst, the Mazda MX-5, the Acura NSX GT3 Evo 22, and the Aston Martin Vantage are all going to be part of the sim. SCS have released a Kone Agriculture Equipment DLC for American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2 with Kone branded farming machinery. Huh, I didn't know they built farm machinery, I only know them for the trailers. Each DLC is priced at €5 USD, and unluckily you need one DLC for each truck simulator, which only makes sense economically. But SCS are so good to the community, I'm inclined to give them a pass here. Winter is coming in the northern hemisphere at least, and with it more butts on racing seats as it's customary. While we're not at the level of July with most daily sim racers ever, we're once again very near to it. One sim that once again cracks the record is BeamNG, with its mix of smashing up things and having you be very careful to not to. Overall, there is a mix of ups and downs, with Le Mans Ultimate reaching once again good numbers, Assetto Corsa Evo bringing a couple of hundreds to its shores, testing the 0.3 version, and the start of the rally season with Dirt Rally 2 soaring. Overall, a mixed bag, but mostly the trend is going up, because even those that drop, like Automobilista 2, only drop a little. Good numbers for the Racing Expo, I'd say. If you've been struggling to start Raceroom on Intel GPUs, integrated graphics, or possibly some older non-Intel hardware, there's good news. The team has fixed an issue with direct depth access not being available on this hardware, which was preventing the game from launching or causing weird fog artifacts to appear. There was an amusing bug where disconnected cars would leave behind their engine sounds at their last known position, like automotive ghosts haunting the track. The same thing was happening with smoke effects. The team believes they fixed this, though they hedge their bets with possible fixed language, so we'll see if the phantom cars are truly gone. And talking about ghosts, a specific but noticeable audio bug has been fixed where brake locking a wheel while it's lifted mid-air would play the wrong sound sample. AI behavior has been improved at both Laguna Seca and the Nürburgring GP layouts. Ranked multiplayer is where the bulk of the update's effort went, and it shows. The interface has received numerous improvements that should make organizing your racing schedule much easier. A tooltip overlay on the daily overview lets you hover over events to see if they overlap with others, which is helpful for planning your racing calendar. And a countdown in the lower right shows when your next registered race starts, so you won't miss your slot. Perhaps most useful is the new practice button that lets you jump directly into a time attack session with any combo, even if you're not registered for that event. Once you do register, and if the event uses time attack for qualifying, this button switches to qualify. It's a smart addition that removes unnecessary menu navigation. countdowns now show the exact scheduled time when you hover over them, and there's a reload button that appears if loading takes longer than 5 seconds, letting you retry without restarting the sim completely. Simucube have officially announced their newest entry into the world of wheelbases, the 3. And not only that, they have a lot of strategic partners building wheels for those bases. The first ones being Bavarian SimTech, who already have presented the wheels to the public and will do so even more at the Racing Expo, but other well-known companies as GSI and Asha will soon follow. Something Simucube was already talking about last year is coming into play here, as one important part of the technological advancement is the Simucube Link API, which sets up standards for the communication between the sims, any adjacent software and any hardware that uses this standard. And as Simucube has opened up the standard to anyone wanting to use it, this may be an important step in solving one of the problems I talked about last Thursday. Great minds think alike and all that, although I don't think I can consider me on par with the engineers of Simucube in any way, shape or form, but hey, called it too. Another thing Simucube is introducing is a standard for using a wheel screen as the only touchpad you'll need to control the PC, the sim, their software and anything else. We don't know yet exactly how this works, and you know we're gonna deep dive into this in conversations with Simucube, but this could be very interesting or a complete bust, we'll have to see. They call it the Link Wheel module, and it's again an open standard for anyone to use. Moving on to the wheelbases. As it's almost customary for Simucube, there's going to be 3 versions: the Sport with 15 Nm, the Pro with 25 Nm, and the Ultimate with 35 Nm. And before you bemoan phantom pains for the 35 Nm base ripping off your arms, remember that the Newton meter not only tells you how much torque the base can produce, but also how fine the granularity of the signal is going to be. Broadly said, the higher the Newton meter, the finer the signal, and, in theory at least, the better the force feedback. The bases have completely new designed motors, and according to Simucube, the 35 Newton meter base has a completely different motor technology from the other two. Another thing that changes completely in the Simucube 3 world is the quick release. Not only do they have a completely new QR, this now provides power to the wheels as well as taking care of the data transfer. And it has a strong whiff of Afanador QR, doesn't it? They also deliver something called Control Box that allows you to tweak the base while driving. Think of it as an expanded quick stop. Interestingly enough, Simucube's engineers seem to expect you to use it at arm's level, which somehow has never made sense to me. If the wheel is spinning wildly and I maybe have my arms caught in it, it's much better to have it at leg level, because those should never be caught off in the wheel. But I digress. Let's move on. The software has seen a major update, and I hope they've made it much better than the versions until now, as in my opinion this was the weakest point in the whole Simucube ecosystem. You can set up a lot of different things in the software, but as somebody who wants to race and not spend too much time changing every bit and bob in the software, I hope the using of community and third-party setups for the wheel is something that will be in the software from day one for once. Moving on to the wheels, while they look pretty basic regarding bells and whistles, you know you are going to get Simucube engineering with them, which is of course a plus. They are called Savu Sport and Pro and are both screenless F1 style wheels. By the way, all existing Simucube 2 wheels are compatible with the new system as they connect to it via the Link Hub. Now to the pain point of it all. The Simucube 3 Sport at 15 Nm will cost over €1,200, the Pro almost €1,500, and the Ultimate will crater your bank account by almost €3,200. This pricing is not unexpected and in line with the high quality, high tier you can expect from Simucube. Regarding the wheels, the Savu Sport will cost almost €900 and the Pro about €1,250. Razer Studios kept busy in September and will keep us busy in October with not one but 2 major updates heading to Automobilista 2 in the coming weeks. Version 168 is about to drop, followed pretty quickly by 1685 plus a trio of DLC packs that'll transport players back to the golden age of endurance racing. The big news for online racers is that Stage 2 of the multiplayer overhaul is wrapping up. According to the devs, they've tackled some reliability issues that have apparently been lurking in the game engine for over a decade, since Project Cars time then, and they're suggesting now might be a good time to give it another shot. They already moving into Stage 3, which focuses on adding new tools and features for multiplayer. Single-player racers aren't being left out either. The AI is getting more refined with track-specific adjustments to how computer opponents handle racing for position and respond to blue flags. This is all prep work for the career mode that apparently is coming in 2026. But we've heard that one how often now? The team also tells us they are working on content that recreates the 2005 endurance racing season from both American Le Mans series and European events. They're promising period-accurate tracks and most of the cars that competed back then. It's a nice nostalgic trip for anyone who remembers when GT1 cars had proper V12 engines. The vintage all-weather tires are getting the post V1.6 treatment, and there's been some work on how cold slick tires behave. Modern GT cars are seeing improvements to their differentials and some corrections to chassis calculations, and the force feedback profiles have been overhauled once again, particularly for braking and mid-corner feel. Here's something that might annoy some players. Version 168 will stop auto-loading your saved car setups. Every time you load a new track, you'll start with factory defaults. The devs explain this is to fix some long-standing bugs where setup variables would carry over incorrectly between sessions. It makes sense from a technical standpoint, but manually loading your setup each time is going to be tedious. And it's not a fix, it's a workaround. The next update, 1685, will bring a redefined HUD that's more compact and informative. You'll get better fuel calculations, more detailed damage indicators, and the ability to adjust settings while driving. There's also temporal anti-aliasing coming, which should help performance, especially for VR users who've had limited options until now. Moving on to the DLCs, the Lamborghini Dream Pack Part 2 brings 4 V12-powered beauties to the game for $9.99, the stunning Miura SV, the Gran Turismo Supercars, the track-only Diablo SVR Super Trofeo, the Le Mans Bred Murcielago RGT, and the brand-new hybrid Revuelto Hypercar. It's a solid lineup that covers decades of Lamborghini history. The other 2 DLCs are just vaguely mentioned. Based on their statements, it seems that 2005 endurance content will be part of another DLC, and maybe the 3rd DLC will be based on modern endurance? I don't know. And if you want to know more and ever so much more about sim racing, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon.